Hey guys, it's David. Wanted to talk about instincts and the elements and animals. Bunch of things. I'll show you a table of contents here. Basically wanted to lay out some stuff that's sort of underpinning a lot of the collage readings and some of the stuff that maybe we say that's obvious to us, but maybe some of the basics need to be said. At some point about 10 years ago, I associated the elements, the four classical elements that are kind of used in multiple countries, Greek, Chinese, etc. They use fire, water, air, and earth. Air is social, earth is self-preservation, and sexual is fire and water. I'll get into why sexual has two elements. One of the other things from classical times, all this elemental stuff is the basic idea of four different states which each correlate to the instincts. They're worth mentioning because they get at basic qualities of each of the instincts and symbolize all kinds of things about the instincts. The qualities are solidity, which is earth, fluidity, water, temperature, which is fire, and mobility, which is air. So social, air, it's air, and then you kind of want to do wind, air/wind. And when you bring in wind, the thing that starts the winds is the sun. The sun heats the air, and the air current patterns that are, just bringing weather systems and, on a regular pattern. They basically, the winds start at the equator, right? Which is where the sun is closest to the earth. That's an interesting symbol that brings in the sun into social as an overall symbol, and it's a pretty major one to me. So air, wind, sun. Now we're really in the sky with social because, fire and water, those are going to be on the earth, generally speaking. They're not going to be flying around, right, in the air, generally. And then earth, of course, is the platform or whatever, the base for it all. Where that takes us to with the social instinct is, again, the sky, which takes us into God in the sky, which is gods and Mars, Venus, Mercury, and the constellations, Taurus, Scorpio. So there's the belief systems in the sky that form a spirit that informs our laws, governments, constitutions, divine order coming from the sky. That makes sense to me symbolically. So that started at air. So air equals social. Self-preservation and earth. I'll start it like this. Pass your hand through air. You can pass your hand through fire and water. And then earth, that's where you get solidity. And that's where you get things, right? Now we're at things. Air, there's no things. You're not making things with air. Out of air, you can't make things, generally speaking. Same with fire and water, generally speaking. So earth and solidity and the self-preservation instinct, one aspect of it is that sense of wanting things that last and that will last and have a physical durability. We build homes, which is self-preservation space, out of things. You have to have objects, solidity, right? I'm going to keep going on to fire and water for sexual. Some of this is pretty straightforward, I guess. Someone that's attractive, we say they're hot. A dog is in heat. Talking the associations with sexual instinct and attraction and mating and so on. Flames of desire. One of my points about all of this stuff is that in some sense we already know it, right? It already is in our language and it's just happening in and around us all the time. Okay, so water. A condition of water is that it conforms to whatever you put inside it. Water is a stand-in for all liquids in how I'm conceiving of all of this. So you get all the sexual fluids, right? Semen, lubrication, saliva, kissing, right? So water, and heat, water and heat. And blood is a fiery water, right? Blood is red is heat, symbolically, red is fire, and then blood is a liquid. So blood gives us erections, genital swelling, flushed cheeks, right? And lips get reddened, heart, kathonk, getting nervous. So that's a little bit. The other thing besides the elements is this idea of, there's this ancient Buddhist symbol called the Bhavachakra that, in my view, is like a Rosetta Stone of the instincts. And at the center of it, you've got a snake, a rooster, and a pig. I'm seeing those as the three instincts. The snake is sexual, and we'll get into all the symbols, why these make sense. Pig is self-preservation, rooster is social. And then what's interesting here, there are 6 zones in there. I don't know how well you can see it. It's chopped up, it's a pie chopped up into 6 pieces. And the names of those 6 pieces, here's a slightly easier way to look at it. Those 6 realms are the 6 different stackings, and they really fit the stackings. They're not, it's not like a stretch. Okay, so pig, snake, rooster. Snake as sexual. A snake is a phallus and a yoni, vaginal and phallus at the same time, right? It's a heat-seeking phallus penetrating the jungle, and it takes in whole, right? And it goes down a tube. And the snake takes in whole as compared to rooster and pig, which are gonna nibble. So that's saying something about what's often talked about with sexual, which is all or nothing, right? Take in whole or not at all. Another piece there with snake as a symbol, there's the fact that it sheds its skin, which is a symbol that it's continually renewing, and a symbol that it's not as attached to its form as a pig or a rooster is. Pig and rooster can't do anything like that as far as shedding, rebirthing, etc. And then, of course, the fact that the snake body can contort into so many different shapes, right? So it's metamorphic, which says something about the instability, let's say, a particular kind of instability of the sexual instinct, and maybe even a tendency toward instability. It's not reliable in its form, although on another level it is, because it's an instinct and it does the same damn thing all the time. So rooster for social. So look at a rooster. A rooster is, one thing he does, he announces the sun. There's the social sun again, right? And he's he's vocalizing. Vocal speech requires air, right? And then it travels through air, right? More social. All communication is social. Social has rulership over communication, so to speak. The rooster has a hat. He's got a red hat, and he's walking around like he's in a uniform with his hat, and he's pretty damned invested in his role as the badass in the farmyard and as the guy that announces the dawn. He just damn well looks like he's invested in what he's doing and who he is and his role, his position in the pecking order, right? So ding, 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 there's another bird thing. So The rooster is also a placeholder, if you will, for all birds.